Hey everybody, Chris here with Black Angeles and Gold Cult, and I'm talking with Dave Haley, one of the founding members of Psycroptic. How you doing today, Dave?
How are you?
Doing
I'm
great, thank
good, thank
you.
you. I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Perfect.
Um, so we're talking about the Pulse of Annihilation, Psycroptic's latest album.
Mm. Yeah. Which came out on the 17th.
Yeah, real
Yeah, nice and
recent.
fresh.
Yeah, real recent. Um, I've had a chance to give it a few listens. It sounds great. I've got a few favorite songs. The title track I think is definitely up my alley, and um, the last song on it is just for me. It's like one of the best things I've heard from you guys. Forging the Crown.
Oh
Um,
wow, yeah.
and I love the cover art. I think you've got a few similar covers that really capture this image of kind of something greater than us. But what was the band
Mm.
looking to put forth with the Pulse of Annihilation? What's the goal here?
Well, anytime we write and record and put an album together at the base level, we're just trying to do the best thing we possibly can.
Mhm.
So we don't really have an overall vision of okay, it needs to sound exactly like this.
Mhm.
Sometimes you just got to get out of the way of the ideas. And we've learnt that over the years. Sometimes we've said, okay, we need to do this, it's got to be this, we've got to hit these points, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Mhm.
But if you give enough time and space to the ideas, they're really going to become their own. And
Mhm.
it's kind of like sometimes you're just along for the ride, so to speak. And so we definitely, we spend a lot of time, a lot of effort. We worked very hard on it, but it was
Mhm.
also a very fun and kind of pretty free album to write and record. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's I mean that's nice to hear a lot lately. And I don't know if it's the course of the music industry or post-pandemic. Um, Bands seem to have expressed a lot of pressure um to get something out and get it, perfect. Like you were saying, it's got to be like this, but maybe it can't be like this. So it's nice that a band as experienced as you guys also had the opportunity to have some fun putting something out. Um,
Mm,
but kind of in psychotic fashion, like the themes are still like heavy in their way, right? There's some bigger things out there. Um, how
mm.
how do you guys balance this? You and your brother have been doing Psycroptic for since the beginning, obviously.
Yeah.
How do you continue to maintain that balance of, well, we want heavy, we want some serious, we want some fun? What's that like for you guys?
It's I guess there's no real rules in the band, so
Yeah.
that's one thing. And we're all first and foremost, we're just super close friends and
Hmm.
or brothers, and
Yeah.
all of us in the band are friends. Um, and there's no outward pressure from the industry, so to speak.
Okay.
Um, I guess we're in a position where financially we don't rely on the band. It's not our main job. It's we all have our own businesses and jobs around, maybe music industry adjacent or
Mm.
outside the industry or whatever. So we don't rely on it for the paycheck week to week, and that takes a lot of pressure off as well. It might be cool to make a living out of the band, but then we would have to tour a lot more. We'd probably have to do tighter turnarounds on the album cycles, and you'd have to kind of join that kind of crazy cycle.
Yeah.
And then we definitely would feel the pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to begrudge any bands that do that,
Hmm.
but I guess we're in a position where that's helped with our longevity. Where I think calling us a part-time band it's maybe that's a bit of a slight. We're a full-time
Hmm.
band, but of course we've got other commitments to help um, keep the band as quote unquote as pure as possible.
Yeah.
We're still super DIY. We try to keep everything in a house. And I guess that alleviates a lot of pressure as well. There's no label pressure.
Mm.
They're just like, cool, do what you do, and when you're ready, just send it over. Um, So working in that space, we can work super hard with no outward force, guiding us in one direction. We're not trying to make whatever, the album before part two. We
Right.
we we don't need to. So you're always going to get that natural progression with us. It's kind of like a snapshot of, okay, here's where we are creatively right now, and
Yeah.
you can kind of see where it's going, and we'll see you in a couple of years for the next one.
Well, I think that's great. I think a lot of bands probably don't have that kind of freedom to say these things. And I think one of the things, so you guys have been out, I think it was 1999 thereabouts.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
right, so 27 years of Psycroptic, and you haven't had a tremendous amount of musician change. I know there's been a few, and now you have Jason Kaiser also joining the ranks, so to speak.
Mm.
And I know he's done some live work with you in the past. So it seems like when you guys come out with these albums, they sound great, they sound tight, they sound cohesive, but that's got to be a lot of the people involved,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
naturally.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely. I mean, Joe is he's kind of the creative visionary of definitely this album, the last few.
Hmm.
He writes all the music, he
Hmm.
produces it. We recorded it in his studio. He engineers it
Nice.
all, so
Wow.
he's kind of the guy. Everyone does has their input. It's
Hmm.
it's very much a. I'm not going to say it's a democracy because it probably isn't. you know, um, but everyone's got their own opinions and ideas that they can throw in. But we're not sitting there taking votes on different
Mm,
things. That's not happening. But I think everyone can speak freely and
mm.
um, put their own 2 cents in, which helps. And it's pretty it's a pretty dynamic mix of characters and interests and musical tastes that all come together.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes you just got to get out of the way. It's like, well, this is cool. This is different. I've thought about it a lot. It's like if I wasn't in Psycroptic, I'm not sure whether I would listen to Psycroptic. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a hard one. Maybe I would. Maybe I'd love the band. Maybe I wouldn't.
Okay.
Um, and maybe that's true of all of us in the band.
Hmm.
And I think that that kind of freedom and purity helps make it create what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I've really ever heard a musician kind of state that, like, would I listen to this band if I wasn't in it? Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
that's a great take though, because clearly, like as you guys go, through your albums and everything, like clearly there's a lot of care and passion and right, Psychroptic is yours, right?
Mm,
But to be
mm.
able to say artistically, this is one thing, but this isn't the entirety of who I am.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You just got to be truthful. Like we love it, and we put so much effort into it. But who knows where the ideas come from? Where does an idea come from?
Yeah,
Do you have ownership of the idea? You're gonna get into the esoteric. It's like sometimes maybe I'm just a conduit for this thing to get out. I don't know.
yeah. Well, I mean,
But
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, no, well, yeah. But I guess that doesn't diminish the fact that we're not just chucking things together. It's
Right.
like this is a meticulous, long, careful, passionate process. We take great care with it. And I think at some point, the band's been around for so long, it's like it's not really ours anymore. It's its own thing.
Mm,
And you're kind of curators of it. It's like, Psychroptic is this thing. And it means a lot to a lot of people.
mhm.
So we have to be very treat it with a lot of care.
Yeah, and I think that your point about it being a conduit, because if I'm Dave Haley and like, okay, I'm getting ready to start producing music for Psychroptic. So obviously you can't really speak too much for the other guys in the band, but when it's time for like all right, it's time to write the album. Is that the mindset, or does it start kind of happening in bits and pieces here with different parts, or
No,
yeah.
it's kind of ongoing. So it we don't really stop writing. So even though the album's done, we're just about to go out and start touring on it.
Mm.
Joe is still coming up with ideas, and very soon he'll start sending me songs to start to jam, or
Okay.
just ideas. So um, we're always working on something at different
Okay.
degrees of intensity. So I'm I'm just waiting for the new riffs
Mm.
basically, and then I'll start, and then they'll start working on 'em. And yeah, for me that just means, okay, I've got these songs, these ideas. I just need to play them as 50, 60, 70, 100, whatever, however many times,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just play them slightly differently each time, and just wait for the ideas to really crystallize, or wherever they come from, they're going to rise to the surface.
Mm.
And that's so it's a bit of a long process. And basically, you just got to turn up and do the work.
Yeah.
Um, and at some point, it's like, I think I'm ready to track drums. All right, let's go. And that's what I mean by the varying degrees of intensity. It might be, yeah, it definitely gets a lot quicker. And in terms of, right, I'm not just jamming one song a day. Like I'm doing the whole set. In the weeks leading up to the
Mm-hmm.
studio. Um, but there are still, within that, there's still quite a lot of freedom. That comes back to the DIY nature.
Yeah.
We determine when we go into the studio. We control all of that. Joe owns the studio. We track drums at another studio, but they kind of give us the keys.
Mm.
So you guys go forth. So it's we try to remove all the any sort of outward pressures, and make the whole experiences. Yeah, fun's not the right word, but productive.
Sure.
Yeah, you
Well,
just remove anything that can get in your way.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's got to be part of the longevity, and it's got to be so relaxing for you guys to know that you can do that. So when you put out an album like this, there's 9 songs on this album. Um, I don't know. Do you guys is it one of those things where it's like, okay, we wrote 14 songs that could be on it. We're gonna pick and choose, or like you're saying,
No,
okay,
no, it's almost this thing we seem to do 9 songs for each
okay,
album.
okay,
Um, we don't really have any. Yeah, and we're not one of these bands that are like, we're going to write 15 songs and pick the best. Like that concept to me, I I can't get my head around that. That doesn't make sense to me.
okay.
It's either a fucking good song or not.
Yeah.
Like what? Like throw them out. Like
Yeah.
don't reference them.
Yeah.
But if that works for other bands, cool. But that's definitely not us. It's like if something's not working,
Hmm.
it's in the bin.
Okay.
It's not. We're not going to refer to it as a song, because we yeah, for whatever reason, it might get pilfered. There's cool parts in it, then okay, let's take them. We're not going to leave some cool ideas and some other half-baked ideas and call it a song. So yeah,
Yeah.
for us that doesn't work. So no, we're always, it's like as soon as we get to that 8 song, 9 song mark, so all right, let's start booking the studio.
Okay. Yeah, and well, I
Yeah.
think again that it's great that it's deliberate and you're not, like you said, you're being productive. There's not really any waste. Is that when you're doing the order of the album? Because for me, when I gave it a few listens to it, at first it almost felt like there were parts that were kind of like rock heavy. But then
Mhm.
as it goes on, it definitely the intensity increases. Is that deliberate? Obviously, some of this is subjective from my listen and whatnot. But when you guys set this down, how does it form?
Uh, I mean, the order of the tracks is definitely deliberate. We spend a
Mm,
lot of time with the flow, but that is not the chronological order the songs were written in.
right.
And the working. For example, when I'm working on songs, Joe might send me, this song is song 14. It's like, well,
Mm.
where's song 13? It's like, well, it was in the bin. It's
Yeah.
gone. Song 10's not there. So, um, yeah, it's definitely things aren't done in chronological
Mm.
order. Um, Once it's all finished, we kind of we'll mess around with different um, track orders.
Mm.
And there's for this one, it was definitely we I think we all agreed on the opening song, the middle song, and the last song.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think we all agreed on that, and then we just tried some different orders, and everyone's throwing in their ideas, even down to thinking about the LP, how it would flow on an actual on the side B of a
Yeah.
vinyl and things like that. So it's a bit more old school now, thinking like that. But it's yeah, I think the flow really worked on it.
I think so too. And what I like about it is that it's not cookie cutter. I think that Psycroptic has a lot to offer in like this is our sound, but it's an expansive kind of plane here.
Mm,
Because I know for myself, I didn't really get to know Psycroptic until I don't know, probably right after the pandemic, and like there was just more time to like sit and listen to music. And so like, okay, what is this band gonna sound like? Is this album gonna be kind of a continuation, or is it no, it's still fresh every time. Um,
mm.
Assuming you're also a music fan, is that something that like I don't really know how to word this. Do you kind of play as you would want to hear from other bands? Like you want new and fresh every time, or there's core elements that like this is going to be something regardless?
Yeah, no, I've thought about this a lot. Like, let's take Bolt Thrower. I fucking love Bolt Thrower.
Um,
I just want Bolt Thrower to sound like Bolt Thrower. I
yeah.
would be upset if if Bolt Thrower did not sound like them. So that's a little bit hard for me because Psycroptic, I want to evolve every single album.
Yeah.
I don't want us to sound the same. And it's like, well, that is purely selfish from my point of view, because as a musician, I want to do different stuff, evolve, see where Psycroptic goes.
Mhm.
But as a listener, again, I'm selfish from a listener,
Yeah. Yeah.
I want DSI to put out Once Upon the Cross 100 times. Okay. So uh, yeah, I'm a hypocrite in that regard. I want new, exciting, and fresh for us. And if the fans want to come along with us, which I think they do,
Mhm.
I think that's what they've come to expect. Um, they know we're not going to be put out a part two of whatever, the
Mhm.
album before. It's going to sound like us, but I don't know. None of us know. That's
Yeah.
the cool thing. It's kind of exciting. Um, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like as a listener, I don't want my bands to evolve. I like them, but then I like listening to different music.
Yeah.
Exploring new bands. So it's yeah, it's a I'm a for sure a hypocrite in this regard.
Well, I think that's fair. I mean, I recently saw Deicide play, and of course, I want to hear "Once Upon the Cross." Like that's I'm waiting
Yeah,
for them
totally.
to play that song. But there's bands like Prong. Um, I want it to have their flavor, but be different. I think they're an amazing band, but I think that they can do a lot, and it's still their flavor. And it's like, oh, this is
Mm.
Prong. So I think you can have both without being a hypocrite. Um,
Yeah,
but I guess it's a different process, right? Being a listener versus being a creator. Um, because
yeah.
I can't imagine you want to play the same stuff over and over yourself.
No, not particularly. Like the creative part is the part I really enjoy the
Yeah.
most. Like the new ideas, seeing what comes out. That's the exciting part.
Mhm.
All that comes with it. The touring, the live shows. That's an added bonus, and it can be awesome, but it can also be a drag. Um, the creative part definitely can can be a little bit more, I guess, maybe turbulent for your ego, but it also helps you advance as a musician.
Hmm.
So yeah, these days I much prefer the creative part.
Okay, I think that's a great take. And I you hear authors deal with writer's block. Do you have writer's block? And like, what are some of the hardest parts about like, okay, we're working on album number 12, 13, 14. How do I do this? So I guess that's a two-part question
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. So I guess sometimes you kind of stagnate with some ideas, but I think if you uh, uh, I've taught drums a lot in the past, not
Mm,
so much these days, but in the past. Um, and I'll always say to students, motivation is very, very flimsy, and you
mm,
can't rely on motivation. You just have to have a routine and discipline.
hmm
Like they're the things, you're not going to want to practice every day. You're just not.
hmm
And if you're waiting for the motivation to strike, it's not. It's a similar thing with the creative part. I'll just I kind of etch out a time every day that
mm,
I just have to go and play drums. Um, some days the ideas flow, some days they don't.
mm.
Some days it sucks. Some days it's awesome. So I think that's my way of addressing any sort of writer's block. Like
Mm.
I'm just acknowledging straight up that you're not going to hit home runs every day.
Right.
You're just not. Some days are going to suck, and you're like, "This, fuck, why am I doing this?" And other days it's like, "This is the best." So it's just treating it like a job and giving it that respect that it needs.
hmm
You don't want to turn up to your job most days. Some days you do. Um, so that's like I will literally put a stopwatch on. So cool. I
Okay.
have to play for this long. Um, it's either going to be boring sitting here and do nothing, or I can try these songs. So let's
Yeah.
just try the songs.
That's a
So I guess that's my cheat code for any sort of writer's block.
Well, I love it, and I think I mean, it's appropriate to say you got to give it the respect it's due, and you have to do it. You have to turn up
Yeah,
and do it. I mean, you
yeah,
can be an amazingly creative artist outside of the box, everything, but if you're not doing the work,
that's it.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Um,
it's that's a little bit more process driven, but then it's like, well, the ideas are going to get there eventually.
yeah,
You're going to get to them.
yeah. So what do you do though? Like, okay, maybe not a writer's block, but you're, a number of albums in now. What is the next step? I mean, is it like sometimes I'll just listen to non-metal and see what I absorb there, or this event in my life happened, or is it just no, I dig in and see what comes up?
Um, so I think because we've all got so broad listening, you
Mm,
know, can't think of the word. We've got such a wide range of genres we listen to. And Joe, as one of his jobs, he's an engineer, he plays in bands, he plays in a 80s and 90s cover band.
oh,
So he's playing a lot of classic rock songs.
cool.
I think that's had a big influence on the last few albums.
Hmm.
Because he's playing 50, 60, 70 classic songs
hmm
with very traditional song structures. So it's like a writing boot camp. So
hmm
some of that is going to flow into the way he writes. So I think that definitely helps. And we've talked about how we have a different brainstorming ideas to get methods to get ideas out. So one of his is he'll just because he's got a studio, he'll just hit record. He'll put on, um, he'll program some drums at a different or whatever tempo, and he'll just sit there and just brainstorm ideas.
Hmm.
And from that, kind of pick and choose. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And from that, he'll piece together skeletons, and then I'll get the skeletons of the songs, which could be fairly loose structures,
hmm
and then I'll kind of build on that, and then the process starts again. Once I've finished my drums, they go back to him, and then he builds on that again.
Okay.
So it's we do use the studio as a writing tool as well,
Hmm.
rather than writing it in the jam room. Okay, these ideas are finalized, record them, and then done. There's a lot more flexibility in how we do things.
I like that concept using the studio itself as part of the tool. Um,
Mm.
I think, I mean, again, that's another thing I don't think I've really heard anybody mention. Um, so right, a lot of musical influence, but other things too. I know you've mentioned you're not really much of a gear guy, but are there things you're like, we want this type of sound, or like, I saw this being used and I want to try to integrate it into our sound?
Um, a little bit here and there. Like if there's a particular riff, I'll be like, I'm thinking this for that.
Okay.
It'll be definite things that are like, but not so much. Oh, maybe we should bring this exotic instrument in
No.
and see what happens. Like, there's none of that. It's like I'm hearing this exact thing for this thing. Let's
Hmm.
see if that works. Um,
Okay.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Um, but yeah, there's we don't do too much. I don't do too much experimentation there. I try to have I do. I have my live setup
Hmm.
in the studio, so I'm not bringing
Mm.
in anything else that I can't bring to a club, and play a show with. So everything's with the intention of it being able to play live. We're not doing anything too crazy in terms of drum setup. So, and I think that sometimes limiting options helps get the ideas
Sure.
a little bit clearer. You're not just trying to put something wacky over the top for, oh, maybe this will work. It's like, no, it doesn't. It's cool,
Yeah.
but it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense too, because like, with touring, you're limited, especially with a drum kit, you're limited in kind of what you can do. So it's like, why would we do all this stuff for things that we're not going to play in the club?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. We do, again, to just completely contradict everything I said, um, we do some orchestral stuff with, so Joe's wife is a
Hmm.
piano player and singer.
Oh,
So we do have, female vocals on there, and some keyboard stuff actually that Joe has done. But for that we have that on backing tracks. So
okay.
we can replicate that live without the need of extra band members on the road. So um, everything we play we can replicate live.
Okay. That's good to know because I like if I'm gonna go see Psycroptic, I kind of want an idea of what may not be there. And again, if
Mm.
there's a song I love and it has female vocals on it, but you guys can't do that, like that, that'd be a little bit disappointing if I show
Yeah.
up. Um,
Oh, yeah, totally, totally.
but so I also want to touch on so there's kind of a dual vocalist thing now at this point.
Mm.
What I know you've talked about it in other interviews, but really just obviously a terrific frontman. What has that been like to kind of move into that path for you guys?
For us, it's been super organic and natural. Like it makes sense for us. Like
Mm,
a few people scratch their heads. "Oh, that's a bit different." It's like, well, it's our band. We'll do
mm,
whatever we want,
yeah.
and that's the way we look at it. And I mentioned that to Kaiser. He's like, "Oh, yeah, cool." So yeah, it anything that pushes us forward
Mm,
and keeps it fun and exciting for us. And we're all super excited. Like I think the music we're writing these days is like the best we've ever done.
mm,
Um, and I think it's bit of that freedom. We're not really scared of losing fans or whatever. Hopefully we don't,
mm,
but that's not a motivating factor in anything we do. It's like we're just trying to write cool psychroptic songs.
yeah.
Um, and whatever's going to aid in that. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get out of the way. So the dual vocal thing, when the idea came up, there was no pushback from anyone. It was like,
Hmm.
yeah, cool. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, we just won't do it. And quite the opposite. Like it worked ridiculously well.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool.
No, I think
Let's not get in the way of the idea.
I think it's great. I think it's great. You guys definitely, and I'm sure not every band could do that. So I'm happy to hear that it works for you guys.
Hmm.
So obviously, right, you're established, like you said, you don't have a lot of this outside pressure. So it kind of, I guess, toward the end of this year, what is there a new goal or some sort of horizon that you guys are aiming for beyond writing quality music and things like that? Is there something new, something pulling you in a certain direction?
Well, definitely the live shows. It's always good to figure out which of the songs work live because some songs don't. You don't know until you try. Um, so we do want to learn up as many songs and try them, different
Mhm.
points in time in the set to figure it out. So we do have a fair bit of touring coming up, which is both a blessing and a curse in some regards. It's awesome and it's such a privilege to be able to do it. But everyone's got the ridiculous amount of commitments, so it does take a lot of organizing. Um, but we are trying to do as much as
Hmm.
we possibly can because
Okay.
we love the album and it's just a cool and exciting time for us. Yeah, this far in, it's like
Hmm.
it's wild. 27 years in, this is ridiculous, and it's still fun. Maybe I'm probably enjoying it more than I was 10 years ago.
Mm.
Um, I don't know why, but you got to write write it while it's there.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, that I don't know many people have been doing something for 27 years and say, "Oh, I love it more now than ever." So that's awesome.
Yeah,
Your tour package coming up with it's in Fairy Cognitive and I think Summoning the Lich, is that right?
yeah, that's right. Yep, yep.
Um, Cognitive, I saw them recently. They came by and their set was incredible. I've seen in Fairy
Mm.
play. So you've got some great tour mates here
Yeah, yeah,
coming up to
yeah.
support
Really looking
your
forward.
yeah.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Like good dudes, killer bands. Just a cool package.
Hmm.
It's good. You want people have got a lot of choice and not a lot of money, so let's put something cool together and um, we owe it to the people coming out.
Hmm.
If they've made the effort to come out to the show and spend their money, let's make it really cool.
Yeah, that obviously everybody would love to hear that. And it's a good mix. It's not for death metal bands, it's a bit of variety there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess kind of the question I like to end with everybody, what are some albums that you are either listening to now or that you've always listened to that you feel are like kind of essentials for you?
For me,
Yeah.
I would say Angel Corpse, The Inexorable. That's like one of
Mm.
my favorite all-time favorites. Bolt Thrower, those ones loyal. Uh, everything AC/DC. um, um, big fan of black metal, so like Satyricon, Nemesis Divina, Immortal Battles in the North.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think the Inexorable probably takes it. Angel
Yeah.
Corpse, the Inexorable. I think
Okay.
that's like the ultimate death metal album.
Okay. That's and that's a serious list to begin with, but that's a great choice. Um,
Yeah.
and then is it post-pandemic, a lot of things change, but you guys have this great new album that you're going to go out with. Is the touring part now more challenging than it's ever been? I've heard it's more expensive than ever,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
is it more challenging overall?
For us, it's always been very challenging, because we're from an island, off an island,
Hmm.
so we have to we have to travel everywhere. So logistically, it's always been a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, and it does get harder and harder. It just feels like the hurdles are just kind of rising. But we're going to, we make it work. We
Yeah.
figure out the ways to make it work. And we'll keep making it work until we can't.
Hmm.
We're not in it for the money. As long as we can, get by, cover our bills when we tour, killer, killer.
Mm.
So it does, a lot of the fans, music fans, will genuinely ask, how can we support? And if you can afford a shirt at the show, go and do that for any band,
Hmm.
because the majority of that money is going to the band and it's helping them get to the next show. So merch sales mean more than ever now.
Hmm.
So I would say that's the best way to support bands.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're right. And I've heard bands actually become distressed over having to move merch so much to kind of support themselves. But, I guess, like you said, sometimes you just got to do the work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is how it is. This is how
Yeah.
it is. You can sit on the sidelines and cry about it, but who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? Just get down to work.
Yeah. Well, Dave, I can't thank you enough. I know you've been doing the press and you're getting ready for this big tour, so appreciate the time. Um,
No
also,
worries.
Pulse of Annihilation it's a solid album, and like I said, I already have a few favorites off of it. So looking forward to trying to catch you guys live, but whatever comes next.
Awesome. Awesome. No, thanks so much. Let's do it again sometime.